I think it can help fine tune your business opportunities by completing this. And again, have you think about things and take steps that you wouldn't do on your own, and you win by the experience as well as the association.
This is the PMP Industry Insider Podcast.
Hello and welcome out to another episode of the PMP Industry Insider Podcast, where we take a look at what is changing in the pest and lawn industries, and we take you to the front lines to those that are driving those changes. I'm Donnie Shelton, owner of Triangle Home Services, which has Triangle Pest as well as Triangle Lawn. Might I add, my two favorite companies. And with me, as always, is are you in Jersey or Florida now?
I am in a hotel room driving from Florida to New Jersey. So right after this episode, I will jump in the car and continue my trek north.
So serial killer Dan Gordon is joining us here live.
Who?
Serial killer.
Off 90, yeah, off 95 in a hotel room.
Yes.
Are you driving a white van?
No.
with no windows.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Dan, take us home here, buddy. What we got?
Sounds good. Hi, it's Dan Gordon from PCO Bookkeepers and M&A Specialists. We do CFO services for the pest and lawn industry, as well as exit planning, brokerage services, and whatnot. And we want to thank our sponsors today. If you're interested in marketing, this is a new one, so let me read this verbatim. Coal March. The busy season is in full swing, and if you want to come out of the season stronger, there's one name you need to know. That's Coalmarch. From digital strategy to conversion-driven websites, Coalmarch helps pest and green businesses scale smarter. And right now, they're offering the first month free to podcast listeners. Wow, Donnie, I didn't know.
Whoa, how about that? Yeah, I didn't realize that. Yeah.
By the way, visit coalmarch.com, and I guess they're getting the landing page too, /PMP Industry Insiders. That's a dash with in between. Just go to coalmarch.com to claim that offer today. Now, PestSure, a lot simpler, providing insurance products tailor-made for the pest and lawn industry. PestSure understands the risk of the business and offers coverage that fits your needs. Learn more at pestsure.com. Many of our clients use PestSure, very happy with it, and it shows good support for the industry. Voice for Pest, been friends with those guys for a long time, which is pest control management industry leader for designing and implementing unparalleled voice solutions for PCOs of any size from coast to coast, as well as lawn care operators too. Learn more at voiceforpest.com /podcast singular. And if you're interested in joining a PMP Industry Insider group, we are growing like weeds in that, no pun intended. We do have some
maybe a little pun intended, maybe a little bit.
But if you want to listen to episode 136, it's David Billingsley. He does several of our peer groups, facilitates them, and does a great job. And today, we're going to be talking about QualityPro, taking your company to the next level. And our guest today is Tom Jarzynka, Vice President in Technical Training for Massey Services. Tom has served in the pest management industry for 45 years, probably the only guy who's served longer than I have, Tom. And at Massey Services,
industry icon, might I add.
Yes. Icon since
yes.
He's been at Massey since 2000. He's an associate certified entomologist and a certified operator in Florida. But this is the impressive thing, right? You know how big Massey is. Tom oversees the entire pest and termite technical and training team, and he also manages the program development, implementation, initial and ongoing training for pest and termite technicians and managers, as well as supervising major customer accounts for the commercial division. Geez, sounds pretty important. He serves on QualityPro board of directors for NPMA, along with the commercial committee and a P3 steering committee. Boy, this guy is impressive. Tom is also an urban management technical committee, a fun group of technical directors from around the country. And he shares the this honor with our own co-host Donnie Shelton. He
Oh,
is
goodness.
recognized as a Crown leader for the Crown Leadership Awards. I believe it's PCT and Syngenta that
Yeah.
answer that. And
Mhm.
anyway, welcome, Tom. Do we have any time left on this podcast?
We do. Tom, welcome.
Good morning.
Listen.
Thank you.
I actually have to share a story about Tom before you get him on, which is my very first memories of Tom. And Tom, I hope you remember this.
Hmm.
Was I This was back before bed bugs was a big thing. And remember the guy out of Kentucky, I forgot his name, Potter. Potter was going around to all the conferences and saying, "Hey, bed bugs are going to be a big deal. You better get in front of it." And I was at a conference and heard him say that, and I understood and knew that Massey was doing it. And we started our bed bug program, and Tom was actually the one that trained me. That's how many years ago it was. And so I went to Orlando. Do you remember those Chromalox heaters? I mean,
Yep.
he's probably cringing when I say that.
No. I bring back great memories. We did really well with that. And
Yeah,
I personally built your trailer and equipped it. So that
yeah.
TJ thumbprints all over it.
I was going to say, I just remember us being in a hotel room, and I'm not going to say where, but it was in Florida,
Mhm.
and we were heating hotel rooms. So anyway, just it's so funny, many years later, here we are on the podcast. So welcome, Tom. Glad and grateful to have you here on the podcast with us.
Still
Good
have that
morning. Thank
equipment,
you.
Donnie, or did you sell it? The
What's
trailer?
that?
You still have that
That
equipment?
was one of many trailers. We had no, at least I had no idea that Michael Potter was so correct. And we brought this, and I know I've told this story, but we were the first in Raleigh to have a bed bug set up, and I had this huge conference in Raleigh, and
This is a
and the
great
hotel
story. I'm
owner
gonna tell
got
it about the
so pissed off at me because he's like, everywhere on Google, all I see is bed bugs in my hotel because I had this huge conference at his hotel about bed bugs, even though his hotel did not have bed bugs. So anyway, that's a whole funny story. But anyway, this is about Tom. Tom, welcome. We're grateful to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Tom, we have 3 minutes left, and
Yeah,
Uh,
so
Join QualityPro.
yeah.
yeah. So, Tom, listen, obviously I've known about Quality Pro for many, many years. I'm sure that it has changed many times since I first learned about it. And if you're listening to this podcast and you're wondering about Quality Pro, or even if you think you know about Quality Pro, Tom's going to school us on that because as I get older, I realize a lot of things I think I know I probably don't know as quite as well as I thought I did. So with that, Tom, why don't you just kind of quickly, I know we talked about your role at Massey,
Well,
but maybe just talk through big picture what you're doing at Massey now. I know that you're not in hotel rooms heating them, but what are you doing now at Massey, and then kind of what connects you back to Quality Pro? Let's start there.
well, in terms of with Massey and being on the technical and the technical team as well as the teaching side, our roles are to develop the team members and with a focus on service management. And so we design the service programs. We pick the materials that are going to be used. We determine which equipment is going to be employed, and then we write the protocols, produce protocols for going out and providing the services that we're providing our customers. Okay. And then from there, we go and train the team on those protocols. And what we focus on is the whys. Okay, why are we using this piece of equipment and that material at this time of year? And we want to give them the history, the understanding that every application we make, everything that we're doing is designed to get a result for the customer, but it's based on some science and some behavior biology, the environment, what's happening at that time of year. We use a different bait in the summertime than we use in the winter, right? Because we have different factors that come into play in the geographies we're in, and we want to utilize baits that are going to be most effective given those scenarios. We also see spikes in different pest activity at different times of the year, so we want to make sure the products we're using are most appropriate for those target pests at that time of year, again, and the geographies we're in. So it's a pretty active group, pretty active program as we're going through and learning learning about those needs and then addressing them. And then from there, we also lead all of our acquisition integrations. I think we're approaching over 50 now. And it's very interesting to be able to walk into someone else's business and say, hey, show me your good stuff. Because at the end of the day, we're going to show them our good stuff. And for me, it's been very humbling to learn and see how people are successful doing their thing, even though it's different than what we're doing. it was successful. They made it work, and their customers got what they bought, and their teams were taken care of. And so, learning about how those nuances and how that comes together, I think, has been really, really a neat opportunity for us. And then as we go through and interact with other folks, we share that knowledge. In terms of the our commitment to the industry, we've been involved in NPMA and the state organizations in every situation that we can. And part of that is me becoming part of the board for QualityPro. And it's been over 10 years that I've been on the board, and most recently moved into the executive committee. And starting in July, I'll be the chair for QualityPro.
So,
Wow.
exactly what QualityPro is, why it was created, what the resistance was at the beginning, and because I remember when it came on the scene, it was all the rage, and it still is. But tell us exactly, what QualityPro is and why you would want to, if I'm a pest control owner, why I would want to
Well,
participate.
the background on QualityPro is 20 years ago. There was the NPMA had a strategic planning session. Okay, that many of the industry leaders were a part of, and Harvey Massey was one of those folks. And coming out of that meeting, there were two initiatives that were presented, and one was an organization that could help the industry develop professionalism, share best practices, give guidance, be support for companies that didn't have the internal resources themselves. There was someplace they could go, and team members they could work with through the association to help become more professional, to learn the things that they needed to know. And then also they looked at developing an organization to help promote the industry and share knowledge and awareness to the consumers about what we do and the services we provide. And the Professional Pest Management Association Professional Pest Management Alliance came out of that. So those two initiatives were started 20 years ago in the effort to raise the bar internally. How do we be better at what we do? And then raise the bar externally in that, how do we make our prospective customers more aware of the benefits? And so that's really was the genesis of QualityPro as well as PPMA.
And talking that through, I mean, I remember when this first came out, and it was a really big deal. And I remember you would sign up, and you would get a packet, and then there was like these thresholds that you would have to meet as far as like drug screenings, background checks, procedures, those types of things. How is the program? Like if you're sitting back now, and obviously we haven't gotten into the why a whole lot, other than like, tell me why as a business owner I should, if I'm not QualityPro certified, why should I seek that outside of, I mean, a customer may or may not know what that means,
Mhm.
but I remember when we first got into it, I was just amazed at the resources that were available, just kind of off the shelf. I remember, I don't know how they do it now, but they would send us a packet, and there was just these procedures that we had to have, and these processes that we had to have in place. And so it was a real big benefit at the time for our business. Can you just talk through like why a business owner should really consider becoming QualityPro if they're not accredited yet?
Okay, well, your memory is good. Okay, so the 18 segments or checkpoints are still in place. The difference is today we've become a little more modern, and the submissions are electronic, and the resources are available electronically as well. So we're not shipping in containers full of 3-ring binders to prove your worth there. It's done in a much cleaner step-by-step process there, and those resources are available. So going back to the question is why. In reviewing it for me, I think the thing I want to look at is that when I'm trying to solve a problem, or I'm trying to work through issues, and I'm doing it by myself, I only have my own experiences to draw from. And I find that when I have a chance to sit with someone and have a conversation about a particular topic, they say things, and then I think of things and find solutions that I wouldn't have found on my own just because of the interaction, right? So when you
Yeah.
take your business and you're running your business and you're doing your thing and you think you're doing it right, and then all of a sudden you've got this checklist you can look at, and you're going through and saying, yeah, we do that well, we do that well. Ooh, wait a minute. Safety training. Am I really
Mhm.
documenting that right? Right? Or here's how we're handling our vehicles, and maybe I could just pause and take a look at that. I think the benefit of being in part of the association is that the resources are there, the support's going to be there to help you become the most professional organization you can with. That's we're feeding the positives there. At the same point in time, we're going to cause you to look at your business and hopefully see where you can take steps that will help you, okay, that you wouldn't have done on your own.
Yeah, yeah, certainly. And I just want to add to that. You know, I, as a business owner, I've got 8 billion things to do. And, when I was younger, I would hear, leaders, high level leaders say, it's all about communication. Gotta get communication. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's just a communication speech over and over again. And I was very skeptical and thought it was a bunch of baloney. Now that I'm older, I say, it's all about communication.
Right.
Oh, and you only have one person to communicate with this
Yeah,
kind
yeah. Well, here's where I'm getting to. Here's what I'm getting to. So, as a business owner, you got 8 billion things going on. If you're like most business owners, you have the attention span of probably a squirrel. And so you take those two factors combined, and it's like, yes, you want to do it, and yes, you want to execute, but it's very difficult to communicate clearly. This is what this means. And so, one of the things I really appreciate about the Quality Pro packet was like, here's what safety means, and here's how it needs to look. And so, I didn't have to like consistently, like I could delegate some of that. I didn't delegate all of it, but I go, do we have this in place? No. Okay, well, here's what it needs to look like. And then they had like, kind of a framework to build to, because sometimes it's hard to articulate all that as an owner and have all the energy to see all these other pieces through. Meanwhile, you're trying to grow marketing, you're trying to grow sales. There's just all these other things that are snagging on your attention. And so, just to add what was Tom was saying, if you're an owner and you're not Quality Pro, or if you're an owner and you are Quality Pro, it may be a good time just to revamp and look at that, because ultimately, these are things that I remember being in Quality Pro. And again, I haven't looked at the program in a while. We are Quality Pro, but in the end, it's proactive things. It makes your business better ultimately, right? It kind of creates some like
Other
that.
than being a member of NPMA, what does it actually take to become a Quality Pro?
Okay, so with Quality Pro, you don't have to be a member
Okay.
of NPMA. So it's you can go in and make a Quality Pro submission without being an NPMA, even though most of the Quality Pro members are part of NPMA, and then the association is there. In terms of basically it's making the submission. All right, and so going back to Donnie's statement, it's now an electronic process. It's fully streamlined, and the goal here is, okay, yes, it's a test to a level, but it's a test that we intend for everyone to pass. Right. We want you to get through this positively. And so as you go through the step-by-step aspects of it, you'll see the outline of what needs to be done, what you're looking for. And if you're missing something, there's probably a link to a guide that's going to help you get to that point. And then there's also the resources within Quality Pro that you can make contact with and get guidance from there. And let's say you make a submission and it comes back and they say, no, you're not quite there yet. Okay. You get to resubmit. It's not one and done and you're out. You don't, okay, we'll guide you through the submissions until you hit the right mark. So different size organizations, different companies, companies proceed through it at different paces, because guess what? They're at different paces in their development as well. So it's very customized to each opportunity, and that how can we work with you as your individual operator to allow you to earn this accreditation and benefit from it internally as well as externally. All right. And then once you're in, there's a review process for remaining, and then you get to take advantage of the additional certifications that we have through Green Pro, Quality Pro, Quality Pro Safety, and Public Health. So you get lots of wins that come from that, and it's all built on how can we assist you in gaining this level of expertise.
So I have a question. You talk about the 18 things. If I'm an owner and I'm interested in Quality Pro, like what areas of my business do I need to be? Like, what does this deal with? Obviously, it's going to be training, safety, what you talked about. Like, can you just kind of walk through? I don't know if you can walk through the 18 points or not. I mean, but just kind of big picture, like this is what you can expect, and this is what the test looks like. Maybe that's a better way of saying it.
Okay. Well, through the magic of modern technology, I have
Yes.
the 18 bullet points, right? So
Perfect. Perfect.
what we got here is, it starts off with hiring practices, okay? Job applicants, you complete an application, undergo interviews, you have references, etc. Looking for background checks, okay? We are sending individuals into people's homes and businesses, and there needs to be, some assurance that with the right things are happening there. looking at workplace policies, up to including drug-free workplace and minimum insurance requirements. We're looking for service standards, all right, and that if you have a process that you're looking to see employed or see provided for your customers, are what services are being provided, how are you structuring that? Are you in uniform? Is there a dress code? What's the image? How do the image aspect come into play? There's safety and compliance aspects. Is there an employee handbook? Advertising ethics. Okay, are you truthful and honest? Customer communication. What policies do you have there? What type of training and testing are happening? And then we're also looking for in terms of the service programs, integrated pest management. Are they comprehensive programs that involve all aspects of IPM? How are you handling your pesticides, storage, or safety and PPE issues being taken care of? Then there's the QualityPro exam. And the QualityPro exam can handle two different ways. You can have each team member take the QualityPro exam, which is elements of safety and service and customer relations that are industry based, or you can have your training program certified. You can take your training program, submit it to the QualityPro team, and they will review it. And if your training program is certified, then anyone that comes in goes through your training program will then be would qualify as completed for QualityPro. And then we take a look at your termite agreements, and they meet specific requirements on warranties and service arrangements. So those are the 18 points.
Question for you. It seems like if like Donnie said, business owners are pretty busy and whatnot. I've got to design a handbook. I've got to design a protocol for IPM for all the different treatments that I do. Is there a model that you can tailor, and fill in the blanks and then learn from, or do you have to develop this stuff?
There are templates for much of this, right? And I think the point of your question is good in that, okay, well, I'm an owner, I'm a busy person, I need to go through and do this. And, in preparation for today's, meeting here, I was looking through this. I'm going, well, if I'm preparing to go through QualityPro to put all this together, if I'm going to go into a bid scenario, guess what I'm doing? The same things. I'm answering the same questions. So if I go through this as a business owner and say, yeah, I need a handbook and I need to verify my training, I need to verify my protocol, the next time I put in a bid, guess what? They're going to ask me for the same information. So yeah, I think it can help fine tune your business opportunities by completing this. And again, have you think about things that and take steps that you wouldn't do on your own, and you win, okay, by the experience as well as the association.
The other thing to think about here too, and I'm surprised Dan didn't do this because he's notorious for shameless plugs, but let me just take a moment here. Which is, the reality of it is that if you don't have these things and you don't have the templates, get into a peer group, because oftentimes, what you can do is like, hey, send me your handbook. Let me see what you got. Listen, it's no secret, at least in the groups I've been. I can't speak for all groups, but we share everything. I mean, we really do. I mean, it's like, okay, well, what are you doing for your handbook? And we look at that. And obviously there's state differences and you don't want to just like carbon copy it. But the best compliment I've ever been paid is, and it's one of our, I think we've had him on this podcast a couple of times, but he's in my peer group. And he says, I took everything you did, Don, and I just put my logo on it. So I had my training. And I'm like, that's fine, right? I mean, because ultimately it works, But my point is like, there are definitely resources and there are ways to speed this process up. I'm not suggesting that you go out and steal everything. I'm just saying that you don't have to create it from scratch, right? If you get around other folks who are successful and who's gone through this process, they can certainly help you get to point B a lot faster than trying to just create it on your own.
Peer groups are invaluable because, well, there are other peer groups, but our peer group, we have a place where you can upload and download documents.
Right.
Hey, do you have a handbook protocol for carpenter ants? Okay, put it up there, everybody.
Right.
It's at it. Handbook, whatever. And you bat it back and forth, but you're right. The just the sharing in a peer group helps.
Following the theme of shameless plugs, Massey Services has a history of having kind of an open door for the immersive the training events. And over the years, many companies have come and spent 2-3 days with us at our executive leaders going through different sessions talking about our standards and business practices, protocols, procedures, how we go about managing things. And y'all's group came in a couple of
We
years
did.
ago
We've
to our
done
We
that
did.
several times, and
and to sit and to hear Tony Massey give the 100 penny presentation, no matter how many times you hear it, it's impactful, it's powerful.
Yeah.
We enjoy those opportunities to share, with those individuals that come in, and I think that's the foundation that we have in terms of us being involved with NPMA and QualityPro, PPMA, et cetera, and that we're interested in investing in the industry and helping all that we can.
by the
And
way,
I'd
if
like to say
100
thank you.
presentation, it's outstanding. And Donnie or Marisa, if you could put it up in the show notes, Tony was on our program and went through it.
Yeah.
Episode number it was, but
It was way back early, but I remember him doing that. But I mean, to Tom's point, look, man, it has been. I mean, we've been very. Massey has been very gracious in sharing and helping our groups, our peer groups, and it's an amazing time when you go down to Orlando, and you're able to see how they do it. And like most things in the industry, right, there are no secrets. It's all about execution. And so that's where the real money's made. So let's switch gears here a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about, one of the criticisms I hear a lot is, well, Quality Pro, customers don't know what that means. Customers don't understand it. Why even bother? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why market it? Why talk about it? Can you just walk us through how Quality Pro could help a company improve their customer trust, or like how they can make that tie back to what that really means? Because obviously you're not only trying to educate the customer on your company, right? You're also trying to educate the customer on like what makes your company different. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, and I think in terms of what we're doing here is the best response I can give is that it's a feature. Okay, customer doesn't know the value of it until we explain it.
Hmm.
Our company is Quality Pro accredited. Okay, which means we've gone through and submitted information about our customer. We have a third party that's looking at our operations and helping to assure that we are working towards being as professional as possible. There are 18 checkpoints that we need to hit, and when you start talking about insurances and background checks and image and training, why wouldn't a customer be interested that, okay, you're doing those things and there's an entity that's looked at it and said, yeah, you're doing it well.
Right.
Self-promotion starts with it. Now, I also think that in terms of, the industry, if more and more organizations earn Quality Pro, then that builds momentum towards people becoming more and more aware of it and making it most substantial. Right. But in terms of what we're doing now, if I have a feature that someone else doesn't have, and I believe it's less than 3% of the companies are Quality Pro certified, that's something I might want to tell my prospect and ensure that my current customer is aware of.
Hmm. Yeah.
something you need to promote with your customers. I remember when they were doing Quality Pro at the beginning, they were talking about, if you remember those, the milk industry had their get milk, right? And
Mhm.
the comment was, well, we're not going to spend the same amount of money on PR as the milk industry. But if you have a sales guy that shows up at a customer's door and says, look, we are Quality Pro, and here's what Quality Pro consists of, then you can kind of communicate that to the customer, and the customer, when they get that second or third bid, can ask about that. So it's important that you not only become Quality Pro, but that you know what it is so that you can explain it to the customer.
Right. And we're seeing situations where purchasing agents, buyers, et cetera, are aware of Quality Pro, and Quality Pro is being written into their standards and their expectations. So there is some awareness on that. Some insurance providers are requesting that there's an additional level of certification coming in. So we're seeing some momentum there. When we take a look at your organic programs out there, the Green Pro program, is recognized by many of them as being compliant with their expectations. So when you look at that, there's, certainly there's opportunity for us to grow, but awareness is out there.
So I have to believe that the program is not static, right? I'm sure there's things that change. I'm sure there are processes and requirements that are changing. Can you just walk us through? Obviously, I know you said at the very beginning that you're gonna be chairing Quality Pro here in the near, very, very near future. I guess I think you said July.
Right.
Can you just walk us through, like, what are the updates that are coming for Quality Pro? What should some listeners know about, just kind of big picture, where's Quality Pro going?
Right.
And what are some changes that are happening there?
Okay, well, over the last few years, we've worked as a board to streamline some of the processes and make being a part of the organization a little cleaner, a little easier. Certainly, the advancements we made from going, from logbook entries or submissions to electronic has made a difference. Updates to the websites and the resources available have been done. And then we've also made the change where the only way to have your training program or your training approved was to have your technicians test. Well, now we have the opportunity for having your training program being certified so that you don't have two training events, your internal training event plus your Quality Pro training event. Now that can all be packaged in at once. So that cleans up some of those ends there, and that's worked out pretty well. And probably the latest step that we've made is the introduction of the NPMA Pro certification. And Quality Pro being the accrediting organization, okay, we're handling that aspect of it. But in this case, a technician from any company anywhere who feels that they have skill and experience and they've put the study into it can test to be recognized as an NPMA Pro certified technician. And that's separate from what their company might do, because not every company may choose to be part of Quality Pro, but this individual is looking for, some way to be recognized for their own accomplishments. And maybe with that, provide motivation for others to step in. So that's the biggest thing that's happened recently, and we're very excited about it, and we're looking for momentum to pick up with that very quickly.
So just real quickly, a lot of what you said, when you go out to bid and things like that. So we have a lot of listeners who are residential companies. What is the advantage of being Quality Pro from a residential perspective as opposed to a commercial perspective? Because, you're not working on sophisticated bids and whatnot.
Well, I think there's a similar motive there in that when we're going into someone's home, okay, we want to know that we're doing the right things. We have trained professionals that are applying products in and around your home, making decisions on where those products are going to go, and with with everyone's best interest in mind. All right. It's not three glugs and a cloud of dust, right? There's a bona fide effort to it when we consider that we walk into an environment, we're going to deal with that environment, behavior biology of the pest. We're going to deal with the sanitary conditions that's happening there, and then look at the treatment options, chemical and non-chemical. That's a pretty sophisticated Rubik's Cube of dialing up the solution. Okay, our typical homeowner is not ready to do that. Well, if you have quality with your Quality Pro accreditation, you can sit with the buyer and say, hey, look at where we're at here. I'm a licensed trained professional. We are a trade. Okay. You have a certified technician. You have doing your AC. You have a certified electrician. You have a certified person working on your car. All right. Would you not want a certified person taking care of your home in terms of pest activity? And I think, there's ways to package that where folks can come to understand the professionalism that you bring and that you're have instilled in your organization.
Excellent.
So, going back through, I get that as far as customers. What are some myths or things that you guys hear about Quality Pro that just you're trying to figure out where did that come from, especially from business owners, because sometimes in lack of information we tend to make stuff up. But so I'm just curious. Do you hear any common myths, or do you hear anything people oh, you don't want to do that, or
we've already hit on one of them, and one of them is it's too much work. All right. And okay, yeah, there are 18 points, and yes, you will make the submissions, but we feel that the gains that come from going through the process far outweigh the work, and in many cases it's not the owner, okay, by themselves having to make the submission. There's a team, there's a staff there of managers and admin folks, whatever, that can work collaboratively to put the package together. And through everyone being involved with it, everybody wins, everybody gains. And those conversations that I spoke about earlier that wouldn't happen on their own start to happen. And so now your team is interacting with, hey, we don't do this, or we do this, but how can we do it better, and how can we work it through? That the polishing comes through that effort there. So yeah, it's a bit of work, but I think at the end of the day, it's valuable. There is some confusion between NPMA and QualityPro. Okay, NPMA is a trade association that's open to all companies. QualityPro and the NPMA Pro are credentialing. All right, where we're looking at the organization and certifying that what they're meeting certain performance requirements. And then there's confusion between NPMA and QualityPro. And NPMA is an association that you're choosing to be a part of and then reap the benefits from. The accreditation part of it comes through testing and validation. So there's two different entities with two different task roles there
And as you
that you
said
work through.
before, you can go for accreditation without being a member of NPMA. But why would you? But you can, because
Right,
okay.
right.
But you said something interesting, that over 100,000 technicians have been through this, or people who have been through this. That's
Yes.
incredible. I think the last count, from marketing lists and whatnot, there's about 25,000 licensed businesses in the US. I don't know if that's true or not. So that would
Well,
mean
let me double check my facts here.
Well, I can tell you right now, like when we have technicians at STAR, this is one of the things that we have them do is we have them, complete the Quality Pro exam. And that's something that we had to prepare them for. There was a book that went with it and the study material.
Right.
And much like what Tom said, no one's looking to fail these guys. It's to make sure that they're aware, and that when they pass the exam, then kind of when you threw the rock, it made it into the pond. That
Well, that
makes
was
sense, you know what I'm saying?
yeah. So and again, that's 100,000 over the 20 years too. So
Right. Yeah.
no, I remember when it was a concept and it came out to have 100
right.
people.
Yeah, I'm looking back at the facts here, and okay, there are over 100,000 folks that earn certificates of completion after passing exams for Quality Pro, Green Pro, Quality Pro schools. So there's multiple certificates that I think that might be in that count.
Mhm.
That's fantastic. It really is. It really is. So let's talk about what to do. So I'm an owner. Tom has convinced me that we need to be Quality Pro now. What is it that I need to do? Like, how do I move forward? What exactly? Like, how do I go from like idea to now I'm in the process?
You need to apply, and that's just go to the website, get yourself enrolled, apply for the opportunity, and then dig into the to the checkpoints, dig into the information that's available, see what's there, and then where you need help, ask for help. The website has everything you need. Okay, you can read through the standards, you can look at previews of different information there, and then also to give you instructions on how to upload the documentation. And there's a coaching process. The team there will interact with you as you go through it, and providing additional guidance. And then there's also potential that we could do some mentoring to help folks that want to have an extra hand. Because again, the intention is to bring your way through.
Yeah, I'm on the website right now. It's npmapestworld.org, and then bottom it's Quality Pro, and you can there it is. Yep.
And is that the website address for the Quality Pro, or is it Quality Pro?
It's npmaqualitypro.org.
Yeah. There you go. NPMA Quality Pro. There we go. Okay. Well, listen, Tom, it's been great having you on board. And listen, this is a topic that I am I'm a huge fan of Quality Pro. Early on, you were talking about 20 years. We're going to turn 20 actually next year. So this came out just as I was starting in business. And so it was very impactful for Triangle. It was very helpful for me as an owner. And I would encourage all of our listeners, big or small, to go through this process, because it will make you better. And I feel like the sooner you do it, the better, because for us, it allowed us to put a lot of good things in early on, and a nice platform that we've been able to build the business on, versus, the building it and then trying to build the infrastructure, which tends to be a lot more chaotic and a lot more difficult. But Dan, anything you want to finish out here before or talk about before we get done?
Really, really interesting. And I think if you're if you're just starting out, or even if you're not just starting out, accreditation, everybody's looking for some sort of training program, and what's the model to have a best in class pest control company, and QualityPro is it. So it's terrific.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Tom, thank you very much, man. It's been great. And if folks want to learn more, I'm assuming they can go to the website, and I'm assuming they could reach out to you as well. Would that be
Yes.
all right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to be on the call today.
You bet.
No, it's great. It's great. Just a reminder, all the resources and topics that we talked about today are going to be available on the podcast website. We'll make sure to link in NPMA Quality Pro, as well as some of the other resources that we talked about. Just take a look over on pmpindustryinsider.com. Take a look under show notes. And as always, we appreciate any positive ratings and reviews. We ask that all complaints, general loathing, please direct that at Dan. He really likes it when folks do that. And with that, we're going to sign off. We'll see you all next time. Take care now.
See ya.
Bye.